Excellente. Hi, everyone. I am 10 Tampa Bay meteorologist James Gregorio, and you're watching the latest edition, the weekend edition of our Weather Impact live show here. I am joined by First Coast meteorologist Lee Southwick. There she is, back. Lee, I feel like we haven't done this in a while. Great to see you again, and hopefully you were doing something fun if you weren't here. Or you guys have a bunch of weather impact
great
alerts,
to see.
right?
Great to see you, though I can't see you. Katrina he's my amazing director and producer on our side of things here in the Jacksonville area. Katrina, could you please flip so where I could see? Yeah. Okay, I will see you guys very soon. But anyway, hi,
but
happy weekend. It has been a while since we've done this.
Yeah, I can't wait till you can see me again because I've gotten much more handsome over the last few weeks. So,
Wow. Well, I wish I could say the same for myself, but
Yeah. Anyway, we digress. So, Lee, great to see you again. Glad you're joining us for the stream. Obviously, we got another shot of cold air, which is on the way. Yeah, it's just, one more shot, I think, and then at least here in the Tampa area, we're going to see temperatures climb back up into the mid-70s over the next few days, and we've got a warmer run. Woohoo, right? You guys have had some cold stuff, too, in the First Coast.
Excited. Oh my goodness, it's been too cold. Unfortunately, so many plants died here. Like, it looks really sad when you drive around because it got so cold for so long that we weren't used to. And another problem that we're dealing with now here is we're excited about the warm up, but it's still so dry, and we have a lot of dead trees, like underbrush and stuff like that too, because of the freezes and how dry it's been. That unfortunately we have a big fire risk here. So that's our main concern now on the First Coast, our fire risk. What about you guys in the Tampa Bay area?
Yeah, it's gotten drier. I mean, I'm sure you probably saw the drought monitor that came out on Thursday. So that area of extreme drought, while we're talking about it, I'll just punch it up. That area of extreme drought got, unfortunately, more extreme and bigger. So just bear with me for a second here. So I didn't quite expect to do this quickly, but hey, that's all good. We'll see where the conversation takes us. And that's what I love.
I have it too, if we want to pull up my graphics.
Yeah, you know what? Here, I just popped it up. So there we go.
Okay.
So there we go. Drought monitor, as per Thursday, has gotten worse. So you can see, I know what you're talking about. And it looks like, obviously the worst of it is a little further inland from you, Lee. More so, out to the west, that pocket of extreme drought. And then we also have that pocket just south of the Bay Area. And then a third pocket, well, that's actually all the same pocket, that runs almost from north coastal Georgia, further southward as well, and south and westward all the way, closer to Panama City.
And unfortunately, that does clip parts of our area, like Ware and Pierce County in Georgia. It clips parts of them. And then Columbia, Union, Bradford, Baker counties, even a little bit into Putnam here, which is like our coverage area in Jacksonville, all part of those areas that are under the extreme drought. And we saw it expand on Thursday. And so the concern is, of course, is just going to continue to expand because here locally, our next chance of rain is next Thursday at only 10%.
Right. Yeah, we have like a 20% chance on Friday. But for the most part, it's going to be a gorgeous week. So as I've been saying, if we're not going to get the rain, at least, give us all the full-on sunshine and some gorgeous conditions. But what we don't want, obviously, as you were saying, with the dead plants, trees, things of that nature, all those fuels for the fire, literally. And if you get gusty winds, really low humidity, and you have all those ground fuels which are available, that is not a good combination.
And unfortunately here, it's breezy today. We've already had a lot of wildfires this week pop up across the First Coast. Had visibility issues so bad in a place here called Interlochen that school was canceled. An a lane of I-10 was shut down due to another fire that started. There's a big one up in Hilliard in Nassau County. And so that's just our concern again today now that we have dried out. So we had a bit of rain early or Thursday into Friday, but or excuse me, Wednesday to Thursday, but it wasn't enough to really be beneficial here. It kind of helped some of that fire risk on Thursday, but now it's just gone up as of yesterday. And then today we're back at that real high fire risk here across the First Coast because it's drying out, lots of sunshine, and it's breezy. And so we know that's when it can, even something like a grilling out, we have the Super Bowl coming up tomorrow. People might be grilling out for that. And I just beg you to use caution because any sort of loose ember or flame that could just blow away could create a big issue. And you can see that here when we take a look around the First Coast. Blue skies, it's beautiful. It is beautiful. If you're getting outside today, you're good to go. Just please make sure that you aren't causing any sparks or you're very careful with your cigarettes. Their temperatures today getting warmer too. Right now we're in the 50s. We're going to stay comfortably cool today. So maybe you're going out. It's a nice Saturday. I do encourage people to get outside. If you're golfing, again, be aware of the breeze. It is getting quite breezy out there, but there's temperatures comfortably cool in the 60s. Here's a look at our highs today. If you're staying around the beaches, we could see those high temperatures stay in the upper 50s to right near 60 degrees. But then if you work your way inland, the middle 60s, lots of sunshine. I mean, that's more comfortable, especially under the sunshine too. So that should feel pretty nice. But I do just have to show our relative humidity values and the fear that of the fire risk. So our fire danger does jump up this afternoon. Unfortunately, those relative humidity values get to around 30% inland. So mainly along and west of I-95, we kind of enter that critical range. And you know what? Since we've been talking about fire off the top. I started with it. Sorry, James, I just jumped into it because it's been top of mind here on the First Coast. So here's a look at today's fire risk. And then tomorrow for the rest of our Sunday, or the rest of our weekend, I should say. Unfortunately, it's back critical. A few spots try to jump near extreme too. So here's a look at that fire danger over the next several days here in the Jacksonville area. And it stays close to critical over the weekend and then near critical Monday and Tuesday. And Wednesday through Friday, it will stay elevated just because we do stay so dry. Here's a quick look, just zooming into the First Coast for our drought monitor, where you can see it does clip parts of our area under that extreme drought. And then, well, here's a whole lot of nothing. Rain coverage over the next 5 days. Goose eggs, James, every single day for the next 5 days. As I mentioned off the top of the show, we don't get a rain chance until Thursday at 10%. And then same here too. It's 20% on Friday.
Right. Same thing for us. Yeah, we're about 20% on Friday and we don't get it. I don't think we get anything on Thursday. So, it's super low. But yeah, the relative humidities for you guys, when you're getting down into that 20%, 30% range and you're getting into those, danger levels for sure, certainly very, very concerning. All right, so I'll roll through our forecast quickly here and, not as much doom and gloomly here in the Bay Area. I think for the most part, we are faring a little bit less critical. We do have a weather impact alert. We'll get to that for the cold temperatures heading our way tomorrow. But absolutely gorgeous here in the Tampa area right now. We're talking about sunny skies. St. Pete looks great at 64. Clearwater looking really good. Going up today, we might touch 70 inland. Maybe areas like Wauchula and Sebring and Sarasota. Lakewood Ranch could hit 70. Right up against the bay, probably not. Downtown Tampa, St. Pete looking great. TPA looks awesome. Armature Works looks fantastic as well. All right, rolling through that future cast as we head in towards the afternoon hours. Nothing to worry about here. We look great for the most part. Northerly wind at about 10. Temperatures hovering close to 70. There it is. By 2:40, 3 o'clock, we're close to 70. And then as we head into 4:30, we're still in the mid 60s. And, finally moving in towards 10 o'clock or so this evening, we're in the mid 50s, and overnight we see those temperatures drop off a little bit more. So if you're up in Crystal River and Brooksville, areas like that, it might be another night where you want to throw on an extra blanket on the bed, something like that. And then tomorrow morning, getting up early for services, perhaps we've got that weather impact alert until 9. After that, smooth sailing. And I think the temperatures do pop pretty good tomorrow, a little more on the top end than what we're dealing with today. So high temperatures tomorrow, I think, may hit 71, maybe 72. So there's just a little smidgen extra, little extra creatine in the temperature game tomorrow. So I think we'll get a little more on the recovery side, so which is good news. All right, as mentioned, we've got some weather impact alert in place for those cold temperatures tomorrow morning. The alert up until about 9 a.m. Temperatures will be near freezing, particularly up in the Nature Coast. So up in Brooksville, up in Crystal River, as we move into Citrus and Hernando counties, especially relevant and pertinent to you. Temperatures will be near freezing, patchy frost, although we've got cold weather shelters that have been open, staying opening, and also Hillsborough County is opening their warming shelter for tomorrow morning as well. So obviously you got to dress warm and maybe give yourself a little extra time if you're moving a little slower. All right, so temperatures at the hour. Thenotis at 63, Zephyr Hills at about 63. We expand that view. Sarasota already at 68. There it is, Arcadia at 70, the overperformer of the day. Arcadia 70 degrees. Gold star on the fridge for you. Hitting 70 already, and it's not even noontime. So, yeah, that early February sunshine, getting some oomph to it. So, liking that. Satellite and radar shot, the culprit for that reinforcing shot of cold air is, well, a cold front. So there it is, and bringing in that reinforcing shot of cooler air as well. So marine forecast looks like this. We do have an exercise caution criteria up on our waterway. So moderate chop on the bay, winds are northwest at 9 to about 10, seas running about 3 to 5 feet in the Gulf. So as mentioned, give yourself, you do want to be careful. Just be smart out there. Small craft advisory not in place yet, but you never know. That could always come up should the winds get a little gustier and a little breezier. So just be mindful of this. All right, so as Lee mentioned, expected rainfall, there it is. Goose eggs for us too. We do have a 20% chance as we head into Friday, but until then, things are quiet and sunny. We've got a great looking week on the way, but this is the problem. Going over it again and zooming on in a little bit here. Bradenton, Sarasota, on over to Lake Placid. That's our extreme drought condition shaded in red, and we've got a big chunk of it, a big part of it, or a part of it, I should say, for Lee's area in the First Coast, for, Metro Jacksonville, for the Jacksonville market, we call it, into Georgia, as well as some of that down in towards South Florida as well. All right, so if you're traveling across the U.S. today, it looks okay, or I should say tomorrow, that is. Syracuse, New York, -4 at 9 a.m. That's the actual air temperature. So that swath of cold air has really done a good job kind of sneaking in towards here. So, it's sort of, almost negatively kind of tilted and affecting more so folks in the Northeast. In New England, points to the south. So luckily they're playing the Super Bowl in California, so they're not dealing with any of this really cold stuff. But if you're traveling up towards Boston's Logan or into Syracuse or Buffalo or Rochester, Western New York, you're certainly going to be dealing with those frigid temperatures. Then as we move into Monday afternoon, gets a little bit better. We start to ease out, but Tuesday morning, Syracuse is at 0. Another little clipper system just moves over Lake Erie in Ontario there, and then we'll continue to move a little further northward into Vermont and New Hampshire, not really spilling further south. And then there is a little system that moves off of Tennessee into North Carolina, and then there's our chance Tuesday morning. Most of that, it looks like, goes by to the north. We just get clipped with a little bit of that energy zipping on by as well. So watching that pretty closely. And then as we head in towards Friday. All right, so let's bring Lee back in. You there, Lee?
Hey.
Hey, there you are.
See me?
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to talk Super Bowl. What do you think?
All right. Let's do it. I mean, Super Bowl watch party for you guys. That looks nice. I like the 60s dipping down into the 50s. For
Yeah.
us, we are going to be dropping from the 50s down into the 40s.
Oof.
And while that seems like nice football weather overall, So earlier this week, when I was streaming with my coworker, meteorologist Ross Muma, and we were talking about, you know what, this would be great if you're grilling out. You got that big, nice outdoor TV set
Yeah,
up, and you got the bonfire going.
sure.
And then we were like, oh, wait, fire risk.
Right. No
No
bonfire.
bonfires. We don't recommend grilling. So instead, it's cold. You know, so everyone just stay inside, bundle up, and enjoy the heat of the inside
Maybe the
while you
indoor
watch the Super Bowl
fireplace.
instead.
Right? Maybe the
Fireplace.
inside
I mean,
fireplace.
yeah, it just we've unfortunately here too had a couple of like house fires, so I do want to that just reminds me to
Ugh,
warn people about the space
right.
heaters, especially if you're watching the game, you don't want to knock something over. And so please everyone just be so safe with these chilly weather temperatures. And you had mentioned your impact alert for
Hmm.
cold weather tomorrow. I do want to mention here on the First Coast, we also do have cold weather alerts. We have a
Okay.
freeze warning and a freeze watch for some of our inland spots. We don't expect it to be a widespread freeze here across the First Coast, but just some of our far inland spots like Lake City, like right along
Mm.
and west of Jacksonville, we could have a light freeze tomorrow morning. But then getting to Super Bowl time, like you said, we're
Yeah.
we're gonna warm up into the middle 60s tomorrow, and then we'll be dropping through the 50s and 40s during the game.
Yeah. Any favorites? Are you a Patriots or Seahawks fan?
So this
No, I
has
know
been
you're
asked
not. I
of
mean,
me a
dumb
lot, and
question. Dumb question. I
I'm
know you're
trying.
not
I'm not a what?
Patriots or Seahawks fan per se. I mean, I know,
Well,
right. I mean, you like the Jags.
right. I am a Jags fan, but who am I cheering for?
Yes. I mean,
So,
yes. Maybe that should have been the question, I should say.
well, I think it's fair because I will say, if you look at my family, the family I just married into, they've lived in Boston. They are huge Patriots
Oh,
fans. So if
wow.
I want
Okay.
to keep the peace with my family, my new family, I need to cheer for the Patriots. But with that said, I have never cheered for the Patriots,
Oh,
and everything else removed, I would be cheering for the Seahawks. And you know what? I think they got better colors because I think we never get to wear green, so it'd be my excuse to wear green.
right, right.
And I really like the city, so I think no matter what, I'm not going to lose because if the Patriots win, my family's happy. Yay. If the Seahawks win, I'm secretly happy. Yay. It's all good.
Couple yays in there. Yeah, no doubt. So I want the Seahawks to win just because I grew up in the New York area. And of course, Boston was like, Boston. And New England was, one of the hated teams. But I grew up sort of a Jets fan. And as you know, Sam Darnold
Oh,
was the Jets quarterback. The New York
yeah.
Jets have
Okay.
a tremendous history of ruining good young quarterbacks. That's what their Jets are really good at. So, having said that, I am so happy that Sam Darnold was able to overcome his time as a Jet and to see his
Oh my
journeyman
goodness.
career really take off and do really well. So therefore, I'm rooting for the Seahawks and Sam Darnold because
That's nice of you.
I'm
Wait, so because you said you are a Jets fan, right?
well,
You're
I
just
was.
mad at what they did to him?
I was. So I'm happy that they didn't ruin him, but I'm so tired of the Jets just constantly not being able to get out of their own way. So I am renouncing my Jets fanship. And, I was working in Philadelphia. I was working in Buffalo, two franchises I do really like as well. But I'm going to have to go all in on the Bucks. Now, ironically,
Yeah,
as I say that, the Bucks have the Jets' old coach, Todd Bowles. So the plot thickens.
that's right.
So,
That's right.
so there is that. That is a little stumbling block for me in my fandom. So,
You want
anyway,
him to, I mean, I just as long as you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneer now, and
yeah,
that's great because you mentioned Buffalo. That's almost equivalent to a curse word here in Jacksonville now after the playoffs.
you're right.
And Eagles have way too many fans,
So,
so
so I'm going to give you a
I
little.
like this.
I'm going to give you a little insight. There's a slight little river of Buffalo, New York, that runs through us here at 10 Tampa Bay. So I'm not the only one that is a little bit of a Buffalo fan. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So I do love the.
Yeah, before we all don't like them over here. Yeah, don't name any names.
No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is I could kick the Eagles to the curb because, at least for now, I'm done with Philly. Although, I know our director Noah's like, go Birds. But Philadelphia Eagles fans are crazy. The old Eagles Stadium, the Vet, used to have a jail in it. I mean, they're nuts. So
wow.
Talk about passionate. I mean, I was there when they won the Super Bowl. Literally, people are driving around the city of Philadelphia shooting mortars off out of their cars. I mean, it's insane. There's some crazy fans. So trust me, I'm not making that up. So anyway.
No, I believe you. Meteorologist Ross Mumma is a big Eagles fan.
Yeah, he'll probably agree with that. He'll probably agree with that.
Yeah, I think he absolutely would. I appreciate the passion.
You never know where the weekend stream is going to go, right, Lee? So you'll get a little sports, you'll get a little, you get a lot of weather, and we'll get deep into the weeds. But before we get really deep into the weeds on kind of the upper air pattern, let's talk about some of the stuff that we've got going on, some of the events. So there's our Super Bowl watch party, 68 degrees here at 5 o'clock. As we head into tomorrow evening. So here in Tampa, it is warm enough. If you want to watch the game, we've got a couple great sports bars that are predominantly outside. So if you want to do that, you can. Just bring a sweatshirt here because by 9 o'clock, we're in the mid-50s. So it does get a little cooler, but certainly doable, at least for the first half and, depending on your cold weather tolerance. So if you're a transplant to the Tampa area from up north, you're probably okay. If you're a full-on Floridian, maybe not. Maybe you might want to stay indoors. So there is that. But we also, Lee, have a lot going on. We've got the Florida State Fair happening as well. So I just want to show you the planner for that once I could kind of dig it up. And
while you're pulling it up, I really want to hear about how your Gasparilla was.
Oh, okay. So let's get to the good before we get to Gasparilla. All right. So all right.
Okay.
So Florida State Fair forecast is great. This is the first weekend for it, Lee, although it started a couple days ago. But the first weekend this weekend. So looks fantastic. High temperatures, about 70, maybe 72 if we get lucky this afternoon. That might be a little ambitious. Tons of sunshine. Great go. Sunburn index about 5. So if you're fair skinned, you might want to throw on a little sunblock if you're outside all day. The gates are already open now, and they'll be midway opens at 1 p.m. So all in all, looking great. All right, Gasparilla. I guess the attendance was a little lower than usual. Forecast was not great, and the water conditions were rough and choppy. So that kind of altered the route a little bit for the invasion, things of that nature. So there was that, and then also you had a really strong cold front that came in, and that temperature dropped off like a cliff throughout Gasparilla. So, Gasparilla, a lot of patrons and revelers and folks want to come out there in their Gasparilla outfits, which tend to be less than more. So, little chilly for that, shall we say. So that altered some fashion choices perhaps, and route changes and plan changes and things of that nature. But I'm sure everyone that went had a great time. But I wish the forecast was a little nicer. It didn't really rain much for the event itself, but it got cold and it got really windy, and that made the wind chill kind of wicked.
That's right. We were talking about it here the Friday before. I was working the morning show, and we were talking about how it's cold here. But we know Gatsby is such a big thing down there. So we were, of course, also talking about how cold it was going to get for you guys. And that's what we thought about on the morning show. We were like, we've seen some of those pirate costumes. Are they going to be okay?
Right,
they
exactly.
need to bring some layers.
Yeah, typically, especially on the lady side, there's not much to them. So pretty chilly for sure. So, I think that caused some outfit changes, shall we say. Yeah.
I hope it did. Someone else had said something like, there are other ways to warm up with, good old-fashioned pirate way with some rum. So, whatever.
Yeah.
I hope everyone still just had a great time.
Yeah, I think they did.
Last weekend, despite the weather not being the best.
No doubt. And
a big hockey game for you guys, too.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that game, insane. I don't know if you saw any highlights or saw any clips from the game. Unbelievable, tremendous success. And again, it was cold. the same cold front that made Gatsby cold, made it feel like a hockey game. And it was at Ray J. It was at the football stadium. So they, the NHL series, stadium series, built their whole thing, to make it, a hockey rink. They had to build a hockey rink or portable hockey rink, whatever they call it, So
whatever it is,
right,
yeah.
right. So literally 65,000 fans in attendance at Ray J. And the
awesome.
Bolts were down 5-0, something like that, and then came back at 5. They were down 5-1, and then they came back, and unbelievable, and won the game against. And one of the pivotal moments in the game was the goalie fight. Usually goalies don't fight amongst each other in hockey. So literally they're at center ice and duking it out here. And that kind of reinvigorated the Lightning players. And after that, they just turned it on and dropped the hammer against who? The Boston Bruins.
That is awesome. I mean, that's what. So my husband is a big Lightning fan.
Oh, good.
And he was telling me even before it, because he was asking me about the weather, obviously, when we saw just how cold it was going to be anyway. And it seems like it's a real hockey environment, getting cold. And he said that on social media, people were like, you know what, this sounds like God is favoring the Bolts just because he's bringing the cold weather, making the real hockey experience in Tampa, Florida.
Right.
So I'm glad you all had a great time there.
Oh, it was. I didn't get to go to the game, but it sounds like it was even our sports guys. I talked to Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins, who was there at the game, and everyone says the same thing. It is one of the coolest events they have ever been to in Tampa.
Wow.
So,
Wow, that's really saying something.
It's really saying something. So as somebody who wasn't there, I've got a raging case of FOMO right now for not being there. And I knew I should have gone. But by that point, tickets were already on the secondary market. You weren't getting a ticket for less than $250.